Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Overdrive Files. I hope you all had a great weekend. It's now time to sit back and relax. And if you ever want to get a question on the show, just leave it down below in the comment section. Now let's get into some news. One thing that popped up that I really wanted to talk about is that Lionsgate and Starz are teaming up to create this like John Wick TV show spinoff based on the hotel in the film The Continental. And to me, that's something that I always thought would be such a cool idea. Is you have this hotel in this film franchise that, you know, it caters around all these like hitmen, and all these different people go in and out of that thing. And there's just something about it that like it screams like that it's had so much history and just like this aura about it. But one thing that's curious is it gonna have Ian McShane? Is he gonna be in this like TV show? I think he's done. Like, he's doing other things, I think, right now, other TV shows. I'm not really sure what he's doing at the moment, but I do know that he's on a show right now. So I'm not sure if they're going to get this guy for it. But, like, who's going to be your main lead in this film? Like, are you going to have a female protagonist or male protagonist? I mean, you can't necessarily have Keanu Reeves as John Wick, but the report I did read is that he's going to pop up in this show, which I think would be awesome to see. But who is this film going to be centered around? That's what I'm really curious about. And you have to have Ian McShane, like the dude that like runs this Continental Hotel. I mean, is there going to be a bed and breakfast in this thing? I'm not really sure. But you also have to have that hotel manager, you know, that guy that works the front desk. He is really good in those John Wick movies. And, you know, I'm really curious what this is all going to turn into. But I think it's a fantastic idea. And I just want to see this whole like John Wick franchise just kind of grow from here on out. Could a new Star Wars trilogy based on characters outside the Skywalker franchise be as successful as the original trilogies have been throughout the years? You know, I think anything's really possible. You know, where we're seeing the Star Wars franchise go, even with like Star Wars Rebels on Disney XD, you know, where we're heading towards in the future, we're not going to have Skywalkers. You know, like we've heard George Lucas speak that, you know, Star Wars is always about the Skywalkers, and it's almost like a family soap opera in a sense. But you know where we're going, probably with Rian Johnson's trilogy in the next couple of years. I don't think there's going to be Skywalkers in that. I think it's going to be entirely disconnected from what we've seen in the original trilogy, the prequel trilogy, and this like sequel trilogy. What we're in right now. You know, there might be some similarities or like pieces that are being, you know, kind of intertwined with this new one. You know, I don't know. Is Broom Kid from The Last Jedi going to be the main character in Rian Johnson's trilogy? I really doubt it. I think he was just kind of a story device at the end of that film, kind of inspiring hope, you know, about the legend of Luke Skywalker at the end of that movie. But, you know, I really think there's a time that needs to come that we're going to have no Skywalkers. As far as it being successful, you know, anything's possible. I don't see it being this quote-unquote new Rian Johnson Star Wars trilogy. I don't see it being nearly as successful as this recent one that we have with, you know, the original trilogy characters. There's just so many circumstances with The Force Awakens that, you know, it's been so long since these original Star Wars characters have popped up on screen. You know, Disney recently bought Lucasfilm, and there's just so many unique circumstances to The Force Awakens, you know, that, you know, it made over $2 billion worldwide, and we see The Last Jedi, it's at like 1.2, so it might cap out at like 1.3 or 1.4 billion dollars, which is insanely successful. But, you know, I think even with this Han Solo movie coming out, I think it's probably going to max out at like 500 million or 800 million dollars worldwide, something like that. But, you know, there's a time that is going to come where we're not going to have Skywalkers, and, you know, we might see sort of the box office kind of lessen up a little bit, but that doesn't mean they're necessarily not successful. They're just, you know, not nearly as successful as previous films. But, you know, there's gonna be a day where we're not gonna have Skywalkers in our Star Wars movies, and it's a little bit sad, but I think it's something that needs to happen. I think it's something that's for the best with Star Wars. I'm not up to date on the Ben Affleck Batman drama of will he or won't he return as Batman, but who would be your pick to take over that role? Also, which Batman is your favorite? Mine's Christian Bale for growling reasons. I've really sort of stopped paying attention to all these like news articles that seem to, regurgitate all this Ben Affleck Batman drama. I honestly don't think he's going to be in any Batman movies going forward. There's a possibility that he might be in this Matt Reeves one, but I really think it's unlikely. I think I read something that he met with Jake Gyllenhaal for this Matt Reeves Batman movie, and that's really interesting to me. Jake Gyllenhaal, after seeing Nightcrawler, he's something that a lot of people were considering would be a good fit for the Joker in the DC movies, and I'll agree with that. But for him to take over as Bruce Wayne and Batman, that's really interesting. I would not have thought of Jake Gyllenhaal at all for that character, but I can honestly see it. I can see him donning the cowl, but that could be interesting. I would be on board if they, announced tomorrow that Jake Gyllenhaal's gonna be Bruce Wayne and Batman in the upcoming Batman or whatever Justice League sequel going forward, or even if it's just a reboot. I'd be down for Jake Gyllenhaal. But one thing that really came out of left field that I never would have thought of is Jon Hamm. Yeah, Madman, and recently in Baby Driver, and in his portrayal of, I think his character's name was Buddy in Baby Driver. That guy, he had a darkness and edginess about him in that movie, and that's not something I've ever seen in Jon Hamm before. I mean, if he's been in anything else where he's had that like edginess, let me know, I'll watch it. But I could really see this guy, portraying Bruce Wayne and Batman. He has that jaw, and I don't know, there's just something about Jon Hamm that it screams like Bruce Wayne and Batman to me. I mean, I'd love to see this guy get a big debut in a feature film like The Batman. I think that would be really cool. But as far as my favorite portrayal as Batman or like Bruce Wayne, I mean, I know a lot of people have issues with the film, but Ben Affleck and Batman v Superman, that to me is like, it's the quintessential like Batman and Bruce Wayne in my opinion. Christian Bale is great in the Dark Knight trilogy, but what Ben Affleck did in just that one movie, I wasn't really a fan of what he did in Justice League. I still liked the portrayal of the character, but what he did in Batman v Superman, to me, that's just like they ripped that character right out of the comic book and just filmed it. Like he just nailed that character so good. And I know people have issues with like him murdering like mobsters and things like that. I honestly don't really care that he killed a bunch of like nameless henchmen. But I just loved what he did with that character. Regardless if the film has a lot of issues, I just love the Batfleck version of Batman. I just can't get enough of it. I mean, I really want to see more of him in future films, but you got to do what's best for the character, and Batman always, he's always higher than the actor playing him. So yeah, that's my thoughts on that. I'd like to see your top 10 film composers and some examples of their work from various films. I'm not going to do a top 10 list or anything like that, but just some of my favorite film composers of all time obviously would be like John Williams. Hans Zimmer is up there. Vangelis from the original Blade Runner movie. That guy is just out of this world good. And I mean, that's really the only film or like soundtrack that I listen to of his, but just that one soundtrack that he masterfully created is just so insanely good. James Horner, he's up there. He's one of my guys as far as like film composers. Howard Shore from the Lord of the Rings franchise. That guy, just what he did, he created this tone for the Lord of the Rings that's just, I don't know, it gets deep inside your soul and it just resonates, and just, you hear that that Shire theme, and it just makes you feel warm and fuzzy inside. But you know, film composers, you know, I don't think they get their due as far. I mean, obviously you have the iconic ones, but you know, I think a lot of people overlook like how much the score can impact, you know, the tone and the feel of the movie. And you know, you just have those guys who you can just count on, like John Williams and Hans Zimmer. I've started to listen to less of Hans Zimmer. I would really like to see that guy live with like his band. I really need to catch that sometime. I would even love to see John Williams at like the Hollywood Bowl. I know he does that every year, I think around like early summertime, I think. You know, I'd really love to catch that before John Williams is no longer with us. But you know, those are some of my guys. Oh, Alan Silvestri, you know, the Back to the Future soundtrack, that is just so iconic. I think he also did the original Avengers movie too. I think he did Civil War. I might be wrong about that, but I think they hired him back to do the rest of like the big Avengers and like the big you know, the big Marvel movies, not necessarily the spin-off films, but you know, the big team-up movies. But yeah, those are some of my you know, favorite composers. I'll even throw John Carpenter in there. Like you can't not throw John Carpenter in like a, you know, a list of like best all-time film composers. But I want to know, what are your guys' what are some of your favorite film composers? Comment below. It's now time for the suggestion of the week. My suggestion for you guys this week is Brawl in Cell Block 99 starring Vince Vaughn. You know, this is something that kind of, you know, fell under the radar for me. You know, I saw it was released like a few months ago, but I just never really gave it a chance to watch or anything like that. But it popped up on Amazon Prime, like Amazon Video, and I watched the thing, and oh my God, this is so brutal. It's one of the most violent movies I've watched in quite a while. And you know, Vince Vaughn he will forever be, you know, an all-time comedic actor in my opinion. I think Vince Vaughn is so hilarious, but I think as far as a dramatic actor, I think he's quite underrated. I think Vince Vaughn is just a phenomenal dramatic actor. That guy has some serious chops, and he is insanely good in Brawl in Cell Block 99. Please watch this movie. I was blown away by it. It's so brutal, and like this guy just keeps like his day just keeps getting worse and worse, and what he has to do in this film, and just like putting yourself in this guy's shoes, it's just a mind-blowing movie, and I loved this movie. I really suggest you guys to check it out. But that's it for this video, guys. All applicable links are down below. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Rex Overdrive. I'll see you next time.